Gördüm. Şimdi yaptığı müzikte ilginç şeyler var. Mesela daha önceki Revamp grubuyla baya brutal teknikler uyguladığını görüyorum. E, Yani bu sesiyle ilgili hiçbir sorun yaşadı mı bugüne kadar kariyerinde?
No, no
No.
problems. No, but I did it to learn because by the time I was finished with my studies, I would say that the I don't know if you agree with me on this, but the lessons and the methods that are there for modern singing, so
Hı
not
hı.
opera, but everything but opera, is relatively young. Opera singing
Hmm.
goes back hundreds of years, and that technique and
Yes.
knowledge has also grown throughout centuries. Whereas pop singing, not classical singing, is decades old, and these developments of they develop really fast now.
Hı hı.
But when I started, Rock Academy was the first non classical school for music, pop music in the Netherlands that really took the step away from conservatory or real classical. And the reason why my vocal lessons were so poor was because they were still developing
Hı
methods.
hı.
They
Hı
were
hı.
searching for how to form, yeah, to give it some kind of shape that fits for an education. And well, in the last years, lots have happened, and this method came called complete vocal technique from Catherine Sutherland.
Hı
I
hı.
believe she's Danish, and she came with a book that indeed comes very close to a very complete vocal technique. In that book and her method comes growling and distorted singing, and the book, I never had real lessons for it, but I understood what they were doing, and I started to do the exercises that came with it. And then it felt good, and I guess I am experienced enough to know when to stop. There's always the gray zone between knowing what you're doing and not knowing. So when you start off, you don't know, and you have to feel and try, and
Yeah.
that always comes with it's trial and error there. But you always get the reward when it is good, and then from there I started to experiment and actually use it
Hı hı.
in music, and even in Nightwish, but much more in Revamp. Yeah.
Hmm, wow. Şimdi bütün gençler, özellikle rock müzikle uğraşan gençler bu brutal tekniği kullanmak istiyor. Ama bir yandan da çok güçlü seslere sahip olmak istiyor. Ve genelde benim gördüğüm kadarıyla güçlü ses ve brutal ses çoğu zaman aynı kişide olmuyor. Fakat sizde var bu.
I,
Ya.
as far as I know, it's more of a technical question than a physical question.
Hmm.
So of course you have a tendency towards something. So my vocal cords and everything around it, they're built to sing high very easily, and they're built to um, they maneuver very fast. That's always been very easy for me. And from there, I build up techniques that I can use to keep them away from harm. And what could happen when somebody who's naturally good in growling or distorted singing tries clean singing, is that you do everything the same that you do for growling, all the basic drives the
Yes.
same, and you copy paste that onto regular singing, and that doesn't work. If only because with growling, you use not your vocal cords but your false vocal cords. It's not the actual vocal cords that work. And because with distorted singing, you actually should be singing less, there's less volume coming out because you kind of restrict it back. So that's also why some singers that sing with a clear voice and they try to sing distorted, like me,
Yeah.
first hurt themselves because you kind of
Yes.
expect that heavy, raw sound to be very loud, and it actually acoustically isn't. It sounds that way, but you actually make the volume softer. If you don't, then something goes wrong, and maybe people get lost in translation between the different buttons to push, so to speak. But yeah, for me, it was something I could learn, but I would still say I'm naturally better in clean singing than I am in growling or distorted.